The situation with Melody and Martell has reached a point far beyond the usual reality TV drama. What Melody recently shared is heavy, serious, and completely different from the petty arguments and shade that fans have grown used to seeing on screen. Instead of focusing on small, exaggerated moments for entertainment, Melody revealed details that paint a much deeper and more painful picture, one that goes far beyond what viewers were shown on Love and Marriage Huntsville. According to Melody, everything began with a legal situation involving harassment charges she filed against Martell. She explained that after several delays in the case, Martell eventually pleaded guilty to harassment in court. That moment should have marked the end of his troubling behavior, but what Melody shared next is what pushed her to finally speak up openly about everything she has endured. Melody stated that right after leaving the courthouse, the harassment did not stop. Instead, Martell allegedly drove by her with someone named Arian Curry in the car and continued to speak to her in an unsettling way. According to her, he made comments about her appearance and referenced another man in her life in a way that was meant to provoke and intimidate her. Melody even shared video clips of this interaction, showing what happened after the court appearance. To her, this moment was proof that the legal system had not protected her, and that Martell's behavior continued even after admitting guilt. For Melody, this was a clear indication that the situation was bigger and more disturbing than anything the show had ever displayed. Melody explained that she had kept most of her pain and fear inside for a very long time. She said that what fans saw on television barely scratched the surface of what she went through. She spoke about years of frustration, fear, and emotional exhaustion. Her decision to finally speak out was not impulsive, she said, but the result of carrying the weight of her experience for far too long. Since the beginning of her story on reality TV, Melody felt the narrative was misrepresented. She questioned why so many people defended Martell even after what she says he did to her behind closed doors. These are not small claims or minor disagreements. They are serious allegations, and Melody made it clear that the situation affected her deeply. Among the accusations Melody shared, one of the most shocking was her claim that Martell had punched her during their marriage. She also alleged that he leaked her home address to the public, which made her feel unsafe in her own home. The idea that someone would reveal her private address, especially when her children lived there with her, was frightening to her. She described how she was so scared that she asked someone to sit outside her house just so she would not be alone. Melody explained that as a mother, this fear was even more intense because her children were also at risk. To her, leaking the address was more than reckless, it was dangerous. Melody also criticized how selective parts of police reports were shown on television, while other parts were left out. She argued that reports detailing threats against her life and violent behavior were never aired, while moments that made her look bad were replayed repeatedly. This selective editing, she said, painted her as the aggressor and shielded Martell from accountability. From her perspective, television producers chose to highlight certain clips while removing those that might show the full context of what really happened. She questioned why footage allegedly showing Martell hitting her with pillows during a trip to Vegas was never shown, while the moment she threw a glass, a moment many viewers remember clearly, was repeatedly aired. Melody felt this was unfair and misleading. According to Melody, this pattern of selective editing did more than just misrepresent events. It changed public perception of her and Martell's relationship. She believed that by showing her reaction without airing what allegedly provoked it, the show created a narrative that protected Martell's image and made her look unstable. This, she claimed, was one of the main reasons she decided not to return to the show. She said she refused to continue participating in something that profited from her pain and minimized her experience. Her frustration was clear, but so was her exhaustion. She shared that she did not want to reopen old wounds or let moments of alleged abuse be edited or dismissed again. Melody made it clear that she does not owe anyone access to her trauma. She explained that she protected Martell for years by staying quiet, but she no longer felt obligated to continue doing so. The situation after court, where Martell allegedly approached her again, only fueled her decision to speak openly. According to her, Martell made comments about her having a new man and continued to provoke her even though he had just admitted guilty to harassment. Melody could not understand why someone who had already admitted guilt would continue to engage in behavior that could put them right back in legal trouble. She also expressed confusion over why Arian, who was in the car during this encounter, would allow Martell to speak to her in that way. To her, this showed a lack of respect, maturity, and boundaries. Melody emphasized that this was not about jealousy or bitterness over the past. Instead, she said it was about harassment and control. She wanted the record to show that she did not provoke the situation. She walked viewers through the interaction calmly in her video, explaining what happened and giving context to her reactions. She repeatedly stated that she wanted the truth to be known and the full story to be seen. Her repeated message was that she was finally claiming her voice and refusing to stay silent any longer. For her, speaking out was not just about clearing up rumors, it was about reclaiming her dignity and safety. Her statements also led to a broader discussion about how reality television handles serious issues. Melody brought up how toxic environments in reality TV eventually reach a point where they can no longer be ignored. She mentioned a known reality figure who was removed from a show due to ongoing toxic behavior. While the situations were not identical, the overall feeling was similar. Harmful behavior should not be treated as entertaining or acceptable. Melody argued that certain scenes on Love and Marriage Huntsville were chosen because they boosted ratings, not because they showed the real truth of what was happening. This raised serious questions about accountability and the responsibilities of networks in portraying reality. Melody also addressed people who continued to defend Martell. She expressed disbelief that anyone would support someone accused of such behavior without questioning the full story. Her words were strong and some might say harsh, but she explained that they came from a place of deep hurt and frustration. She said she had spent years protecting others' comfort at the expense of her own peace. Melody made it clear that she was done with that. She refused to stay silent just to make others feel comfortable or to fit a narrative created for television. At the heart of her message was the idea of no contact. Melody insisted that there should be no interaction between her and Martell outside of matters involving their children. Even then, she felt that communication should be limited and possibly supervised if necessary. To her, continued contact only led to more conflict, anxiety, and fear. She said that real healing and moving forward could not happen unless boundaries were firmly enforced. For Melody, this was not about revenge or keeping score. It was about safety, peace, and the ability to live without fear of unwanted confrontation. The emotional toll of long-term conflict, public scrutiny, and legal battles was clearly visible in Melody's words. She spoke about having endured years of stress, co-parenting challenges, and now the burden of making deeply personal experiences public. She carried this alone for a long time, feeling pressured to remain quiet for the sake of peace, appearances, or financial stability. Her decision to speak out now showed that her safety and peace were more important than worrying about what others might think. She was no longer willing to protect a narrative that did not reflect her truth. Beyond Melody and Martell's personal situation, her statements affected how viewers might see Love and Marriage Huntsville as a whole. What many people viewed simply as reality TV drama may have been something much more serious behind the scenes. Her revelations forced a conversation about responsibility, boundaries, and how television often portrays edited versions of real life. When serious allegations come to light, they cannot be ignored or treated as just another storyline. Melody's willingness to step away from the show and speak on her own terms marked a significant shift in the narrative, a shift from entertainment to accountability. Melody also reflected on moments of real loss and grief outside of this situation. Acknowledgement was made for the passing of Roland, reminding viewers that behind the drama and criticism are real people experiencing real emotions and challenges. Life, loss, and pain are parts of the human experience that cannot be edited for television. These moments put everything into perspective and remind audiences that beyond the camera lights and dramatic scenes, people are living full, complex lives. In her final message, Melody was clear about what she wants for her future. She wants peace, safety, and truth. She wants to be left alone to live her life without harassment, public judgment, or fear. While not everyone may believe her, her decision to speak out after years of silence changed the narrative and forced uncomfortable conversations many would rather avoid. This situation is no longer just about a TV show or a messy divorce. It is now about truth, respect, safety, and the right to walk away from environments that no longer serve a person's well-being. Melody urged viewers not to pick sides blindly, but to listen carefully, think critically, and understand that situations like this are layered and deeply personal. What is shown on TV is often only part of the story. Reality shows may entertain, but they also have a responsibility to present truth, especially when serious allegations are involved. By choosing to share her story, Melody reclaimed her voice and challenged audiences to consider the difference between edited drama and real life. In the end, her decision to speak openly was not just about her past, it was about protecting her future. It was about setting boundaries, prioritizing safety, and refusing to be silent any longer. Regardless of what others think, Melody's willingness to stand up for herself marks a turning point, not only in her own life, but in how viewers will think about reality TV stories moving forward. Because at its core, this situation was never just about entertainment, it was about truth.